Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report. Well, runs have slowed down and prices held fairly steady for the calf market. I know last week we talked about corn prices, and it's the same story. We're all talking about corn prices, and they're now at pushing $7 a bushel. And if you translate that into feeding cattle, you're looking at cost of gains over $1 a pound, maybe even closer to $1.10 on these cattle that are in feedlots for the total cost of gain. Cost of gain for feed is about 80 cents, and then you add the medicine and the other processing charges that go along with it, and we're looking at over $1, close to $1.10 a pound. So that's not looking very good for people that are buying calves to put in a feedlot. So the only thing they can do is try to not go to the feedlot. They'll buy these calves and they'll put them on some summer grazing and try to get some cheap gain on them and back that cost of gain down to a reasonable number. But it will reflect in what they're giving for these calf prices today. I looked on the break-even chart on the DTM machine this morning, and a 550-pound calf laid into the panhandle of Texas, let's say, with a $15 freight bill, the break-even point for a 550-pound steer calf to finish him out in a feedlot is $1.50 delivered. So back that down and you're looking at $1.35. And I saw calves here this week. We didn't have very many of them that were very number one quality calves, but we did have a few, and those 5-weight calves are bringing $1.50 to $1.55 here, and that's even above what break even is. So I don't really understand that, why you want to buy something if you know you're going to lose money, but maybe they're going to hedge him against the board or try to buy him and put him on some grass and cheapen up that gain. Anyway, this is affecting all of us. Corn drives the whole world, I reckon, demand for corn, and we're shipping corn still to China and exporting it right and left, and that's capitalism at its best, I guess. I'd like to tell them just to shut the door and keep it all here, because we need it just as bad or worse than anybody else does. We've got to feed these cattle, and we got to feed people too. So that's kind of the global picture of it, and I know it doesn't sound good, but that's where we are. So when you bring your cattle in and you're seeing these prices right now, it's directly related to corn prices. And also, there are not as many cattle placed in feedlots according to the Cattle on Feed report last week, which was a very bullish report. Lower placements means that they don't have as many cattle on feed as they had this time last year. Of course, last year was in the middle of the COVID crisis, the pandemic, and all that. But still, that is a very bullish thing. If you're a cattle owner and have calves to sell, you would think that lower inventory would translate into higher prices. So I don't know. It's a crazy thing. You know, one day it's looking good and the next day it's not. But I'll guarantee you, those farmers, they'll crank those tractors up and they'll go out there and they'll plant that corn, and they'll plant tons and tons and tons of acres of corn, and the price will come down. The deferred months of corn, the new crop corn, are down there around $5.50 a bushel, which is over $1 less. So maybe we're anticipating that the plantings will be higher and feed prices will be lower. But, you know, things do change. They don't always stay the same. So that's one thing you can count on. It will change. The market held up pretty good on calves. Like I said, these grazing calves, the grass is growing, and there's a little bit of demand popping up for 4 and 5 weight calves to put on grass, and they held up pretty steady. The slaughter classes actually picked up a little bit. We had some good slaughter cows here this week, and we called them, I guess probably $3 or $4 higher than they were compared to last week. We had some good bulls here that sold good. Actually, one outstanding bull we had brought $1 a pound. So that was good. The slaughter prices are real good, and but runs are slowing down, and if you want to get the best for your calves when you sell them, number one thing you got to consider is quality, quality, quality. After that is a health program, like our Okevac program. Buyers want calves that are on a good health program. We got to keep that death loss down. It translates into dollars. So when you come to the market with cattle and you want the best price you can get, castrate your steer calves, have #1 quality calves, have them on a health program so when the buyers buy them, they're going to live and not die on them, and you're going to get the best dollars for that calf that you can possibly get. And if that's not enough, then we got to look at some of these other problems with the packers that are buying up these cattle on formulas and not negotiated prices. They're contracting these cattle for delivery 30 days away from the time they buy them. They're just hoarding up a big supply of cattle so they don't have to give more for them. They're just buying a small amount of cattle on a cash negotiated price. And that's why we keep harping on these plans that are out there, cattle transparency plan and the 5014 rule that we're trying to get through legislation, or there are bills that are up there that may possibly help make the packers buy a certain amount of cattle, more cattle, on a negotiated price than just a formula and buying up supply that they don't have to pick up for 30 days. Well, we're just helping them out when we do that. And we need to start trying to help our own selves out here somehow or another. All right, well, enough of that. The weather's good, grass is growing, dry conditions, cattle always do good. I know our cows have turned the corner and calves are growing and they're putting that weight on and conditions are good. We did get a little bit of rain and the grass is growing. We need probably a little bit more rain, which we'll get eventually, but conditions are good and everything's looking good on that end of it. So the high prices this week, we can talk about Adams Ranch. Fort Pierce had a little calf, weighed 190 pounds, that brought $187.50, bought by Foy Reynolds. And Jay Walpole, right across the street from Okeechobee Livestock Market, Walpole Feed, Jay topped the cow market with a 1,640-pound cow that brought $73.50, bought by Florida Beef. That's your market report. Thank you.